Hi, I am now live for a little last minute Q&A. Thank you everyone who asked some questions, that's been amazing. If you have any questions as I'm going, feel free to ask away and I will answer them as we go through. So I'm going to pick one of the first ones. If you're doing a shoot for a client, how many images would you include in your price? I have a weird way of choosing, of sort of offering my pricing and photos thing. I know that most people say like you'll get, for an hour's photo shoot, you'll get 20 images or you'll get 5 images or whatever you decide. Because of the way that I shoot, I don't do a huge amount of skin retouching. So if I'm literally just doing Lightroom adjustments, then I don't really give a limit to the amount of images I will do. That being said, it's like within reason. So the maximum I would edit per hour would be probably about 20 images. So if I'm doing an 8-hour shoot, you can do the maths. If the difference comes in, if the client wants skin retouching done, then I will only do 1 or 2 images per look, because skin retouching takes a lot longer than just copy pasting Lightroom edits onto images. So that is kind of how I work it. I think it's a completely personal decision. If you are someone who wants to charge for the amount of images that you offer in a shoot, that's completely fine. The beauty of this is that we can make our own rules and decide for ourselves what we want to do. So there's no real rule you have to follow. There's only what works for you. Okay, next question. What are the few important things we should be doing if we are beginners in fashion photography? So if you don't already know this, I have a course which is available at the moment which has a bonus available attached to it called The First Fashion Client. This is everything you need to know about getting that first client. So all the questions you would want to have answered within this sort of bucket would be within that course. It's £60 plus VAT, and if you join before Sunday at 9 p.m, you will also get the ebook as a bonus, which is all about how to build your wonderful website. But a few things to be aware of when you're building your first fashion photography business and you want to make sure you're building a good foundation is, number one, get to know your ideal clients or your dream clients really well. So you want to know exactly who it is you're targeting and why you want to work for them, what you could do for them to help them, who their customers are, who they are trying to appeal to through their imagery, and really study the brands that you want to shoot for and then build a portfolio that will suit them. Also things like, just know your camera inside and out. Be so confident with your camera that you don't need to think about how it works or like what you should be doing, and just go and shoot loads. That's the biggest tip I will give you, is take a ton of images, shoot all the time, test shoot with loads of people, collaborate with loads of people, and that's basically what I would say to any beginner fashion photographer. Okay. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them and I will answer them throughout the Q&A. How many looks are typically shot on a client or brand shoot? What is the max amount possible? Again, everyone has different limits. The most I've done on an ecom day has been, I want to say like 40 looks, and that was with 2 models. So it wasn't just one model, that was 2 models. While one was shooting, the other one was getting changed, and we were like, going constantly. Then if it's a location shoot and you're shooting editorial, about 8 to 10 looks is the max. If you're shooting for a client on location, I'd say no more than like 15 for a day. That would suit me quite well. But again, you have to shoot to kind of figure out your limits and know how many outfits you think you can do in a day to be able to answer that question. So practice, see what works best for you, what works well for your energy levels. As a creative, everyone's got different energy levels. So some people can just keep going and like crush out loads of images in a very short amount of time. Others can't. I just saw that I got a question from someone called Grumpy Monkey Socks, which I love, amazing name, which is, what camera do you use? I personally shoot on a Nikon D750 at the moment. I have a backup, which is a D800, which is the camera I've had for a really long time. If I'm shooting on film, I shoot on a Nikon F100, which is as close as you can get to being digital camera without the digital part. And yeah, that's what I currently shoot on. Anna's asking, do you shoot on film for clients? How does that look in terms of pricing? So yes, I do shoot on film for clients. If I am going to shoot on film for a client, the only thing I need to do is basically add on the cost of the film to the budget, and then the cost of the processing and the scanning of the film on top of my regular price. Other than that, it doesn't change like my pricing whether I'm shooting on digital or film. I just charge the client the film and the processing fees. Hope that answers that question. Right, let's do the next Q&A. The sun is getting really bright in here, so I'm gonna be like whited out, and I also can't see my screen anymore. Best things you learned at university that helped push your career forward. Best things I learned at uni, definitely studio lighting. While I was at uni was the first time I got to try studio equipment. I started my degree when I was 19 and I'd never touched a studio light before in my life. So I was like completely new to it, had no idea how it worked. So that was definitely amazing. And the uni I went to, I was really lucky that they had like industry standard studios. We had all the most incredible equipment available to us, so that was really nice and probably the best part about it. And then the other element that I learned at uni was definitely collaborating as a team. I was really fortunate to be in a very small cohort of students, and we all got along really well, and we all helped each other out a lot on our shoots. So I learned how to work as a team really well at uni, I think. That's what I would say is my best learnings. So there's no actual other questions on the Q&A bit of the chat. So if anyone has any more questions, let me know. I actually wrote down some FAQs that I get all the time just to keep myself going, because there are some questions that I get asked all the time. So I'm just going to answer them here today. I also got a question the other day from someone that I didn't have a chance to answer during the masterclass, which is, what do you do when you have bad weather on a location shoot? And that's a really good question, because I live in the UK and we cannot rely on good weather here. Like, the likelihood of us having a sunny day where it's just sun is super small. So the best thing I can give you advice-wise is check the forecast in advance as much as you can. If you see that the weather is going to be potentially bad, try and have some kind of bad weather contingency plan. That could be an indoor location for an editorial shoot, a beauty shoot. If you're shooting for a client and it's going to be on location, try and get the client to plan to have a second location that's indoors, so that, you know, if you get delayed by by rain, then you can move indoors and go and shoot for a while. Often the rain in the UK isn't constant. You'll have like moments where it's raining and then moments where it's not. So having something that you can go indoors and do like outfits indoors while it's raining and then go back outside when it's not, that's really helpful. But if the weather is going to be absolutely horrendous, I do try and encourage to postpone. That sun is really bright again. Try and postpone if you can. From experience, shooting in very heavy rain is just never a good idea. So that would be my wet weather advice. Ray has asked, I hope I said your name correctly, Ray. Do you prefer natural light or artificial light? I prefer natural light. That being said, I do think it's important that photographers understand and are able to shoot both artificial and natural light, because you never know what you're going to need. If you're going to be shooting any e-commerce, you generally want to shoot that under artificial light. Beauty imagery as well often will suit a little bit of pop of flash as well. And depending on what a client will ask for, they might want you to create a certain kind of light that if you're going to wait for natural light, you could be waiting around forever. So the ability to create natural light with artificial light is quite important. And I will admit full out that it's not something I'm still working on. I am not an expert when it comes to artificial light. I have friends who blow my mind with how talented they are at manipulating light. So it's something I'm still working and learning as well. But I prefer shooting on location, and the way that I work means that I move around a lot, and I like to change my angles and move my model from here to there fairly quickly. So shooting artificial light on location doesn't suit my style very well, and I've up until now never had a problem getting the result I want with just the light I have available. I've gotten very good at knowing what light will do what and how to position my models best to work with the light I have. But that being said, there is no right or wrong. You can shoot artificial light, you can shoot natural light, and whatever suits your style and your workflow best is great. What's your favorite studio light setup? I'm a one light gal. Like, honestly, I think you can do amazing things with just one light. I have one quite powerful flash with a large octabox that I tend to use. Just because I love soft light, I very rarely shoot with harsh light. She says as she's being blasted down with harsh light. But yeah, I definitely prefer soft light. And so that's why I tend to use those kind of modifiers. I also really like umbrellas. I do have umbrellas that I use regularly, and I just pop flash into those, and that works really well for me. Clamshell lighting for beauty shoots is lovely as well, which is, if you don't know what a clamshell light is, it's when you have the flash like sort of directly above the model. So if I'm the model, the flash would be here, and then you have a reflector underneath their chin, and that eases shadows underneath the chin and just is very nice for beauty photography. Next question. Do you use a light meter when working on location? If I'm shooting on film, I will try to light meter, yes, especially if I have an assistant who can jump in and meter for me. But if I'm shooting digitally, I don't use a light meter. I just shoot by eye and make sure that I'm, checking my histogram on my camera and making sure it's all looking good. But generally speaking, the light meter in your camera is good enough, and I'm so used to it now, I can get what I need off the bat really quickly. Loads of questions coming in. That is making me... how do you help a project have a positive atmosphere on set? I love that question. One thing that really helps is having a team that you know quite well, I find. I like to work with the same people over and over again, just because when we have that team spirit and everyone gets along and we are all friends, that definitely helps bring a positive atmosphere. Music really helps. I'm gonna have to close a curtain, guys, because I cannot see anything. 1 second. Hopefully that helps me. Whoop! Yes, if I sit back a bit. Okay, cool. Music is another one that really helps to add a little bit of fun. Food and water. Always have food and water on set. That will make a positive atmosphere. Make sure that you speak to everyone. Make sure that no one's feeling left out. Make sure that everyone's being included, and you will have a very positive atmosphere on set. I've answered that one, so I'm going to go back to these questions. What's your process of signing a contract? Do you use any software? Yes, I use Docusign to send my contracts to clients. My dad is a lawyer, which I'm very fortunate to have that help for me. And he says that Docusign is the only online contract software that has been proven to stand in court. Apparently, don't hold me to that, but that's what I've been told. So I use Docusign. It's not expensive. It's very easy to use, and the clients don't have to have an account or anything, so they can literally just sign the contract, and you're good. And in terms of process, there's no process. I have a PDF on my computer that I edit each time I have a job, and I upload it into Docusign. I tell the client I've sent them my contract. They sign it. Done. Easy. Every time I lean forward. Clamshell is one of your favorite light setups. That's amazing. Ooh. Would you let students shadow assist you on your shoots? Yes, of course. If I need assistance, I obviously bring them on set. It's been difficult for me to have assistants on set up until now because I've lived so far away from where most people are shooting. But yeah, I'm always happy to have assistants on set. If anyone wants to come and help out, let me know. There's no more questions. Let me know if anyone has any more questions. I am here for a little bit longer. Let me grab my FAQ page because, as I said, I have... the question I always get asked is, how do I find my style? That's literally like one of the questions I get in the DMs a lot. And when it comes to finding your style as a photographer, the best bit of advice I can give you is to really think about what you're inspired by and what you're attracted to visually. I have always been inspired by very feminine, very romantic stories and imagery, so every part of me is drawn to that kind of aspect of things. So whenever I'm thinking about what my style should be, it always goes back to those kinds of adjectives and those themes of being romantic, feminine, bohemian. That's me. So think about what your keywords are, like what describes what you're interested in, what you like, and then use that to inform the shoots you do. Also think about look at the themes that you've already had in your work previously and try and analyze what is it that's drawing you to that image in particular, and your best images as well. Pick 5 of your best images, really analyze them, mind map. I like to print out images, stick them in a sketchbook and annotate them, really pull them apart like you would have done at school or in art class, anything like that. And get excited about analyzing your own work, and then shoot a lot. That's literally it. Style comes with time. I've been shooting for 13, 14 years, and I can absolutely see threads of my style from the very first image I ever did to now. And I've kind of wiggled around all different ways. I think it's important to try different things when you're trying to figure out your style, and then keep going back to the things that are attracting you the most. What are your top 3 tips on finding new clients? Okay. 1, have a strong portfolio that you are proud of and that you think will suit the type of clients that you want to attract. 2, build a solid marketing strategy. So, have a consistent strategy that you're going to stick to every single week, every single day if you can. And then 3, go out and pitch yourself. Literally, that is, I know I go on about it all the time, but reach out to the clients you would love to shoot for. Put yourself in the position where they're going to find you and see your work, and don't be afraid to ask if someone wants to work with you or collaborate with you or hire you on work. That is how I get all my work, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. How do you write your first email template knowing exactly what to say? Do you mean pitching? What do you, if you can let me know, Sarah, what you mean, how do you write your first email template knowing exactly what to say? Because I will help you with that if you can just let me know what you mean. Another question I get asked all the time, FAQ, is what's my favorite 35mm film to shoot on? My favorite is Portra 400, which I think is such a typical thing to say. But I really love Portra 400, and at the moment I'm shooting on Lomography 400 color, which is apparently the equivalent, so I'm going to test it out and get back to you. I haven't finished rolls, I haven't had them developed yet, so it'll be interesting to see what the results are with that. Sarah, thank you for clarifying what you meant about how to know what to write in your first email. I think I've practiced a lot now, so it's quite natural, but in your first pitch email to someone, you want to always, kind of the top tips of things to write in your email, always say who you are and where you're based. Always link your portfolio, hyperlink your portfolio in your emails. Add your Instagram if you are happy to. I think most people these days should link their Instagram. I think a brand would think it was a bit weird if a photographer wasn't on Instagram. And write a little description about why you want to work with the brand. That's always really important, and how you think you could collaborate with them in some way. Don't just email them and say, let me work for you. Always remember as well that you are providing value to the brand. They have no obligation to hire you, so don't go and sort of ask for work, if that makes sense. Offer work to them that will benefit them in some way. It's always about them, it's never about you. So just keep that in mind when you're pitching. You put your question, put her question in the questions tab. Thank you very much. I have just seen that. It didn't pop up for me. Do you also coach facial expressions in your models, or do you go with what they bring to the table? Very good question. I definitely do ask them for certain expressions, but I don't necessarily say like frown or smile. I will tell them to smile if I want them to smile, but it's more like trying to get them to think of an emotion. One thing that really helps with that is playing music that is themed to the kind of emotion you want them to bring with their face. Also having them think about something that would give them that emotion. So if you want them to look sad, tell them to think about something that makes them sad, which is a horrible thing to ask someone to do, but it does work. If you want them to look in love, tell them to think about someone they have a crush on, or their boyfriend or their husband or whoever it might be, and ask them to think about that person. And that really does translate in the face very quickly. It's a really easy way to get people to have an emotion on their face. I hope that helps with getting them. And then obviously if a model is just naturally bringing awesome facial expressions to the table, then I might just let them do their thing and we'll see what we get. Okay, so that was another one of those questions. Any more questions, guys? Ask away. I'm here. I'm going to do like 10 more minutes if anyone has enough questions for 10 more minutes. If anyone doesn't, I will go off and chill out for my Friday evening. If anyone has any questions about the first fashion client course as well, or the ebook that is as a bonus this week, please let me know. I am so excited. So many people have joined already. I think I've had 15 or 20, I can't remember, I've lost count now, people join this week, which is really exciting, and cannot wait for everyone to learn the course. It's definitely one of my favourite things I've ever done, and is absolutely the foundational everything of working as a fashion photographer. Gracie, is it allowed to use makeup artists for shoots in the UK at the moment? No. Makeup artists are not allowed to be doing touching of anyone's face at the moment, is the simple answer to that question. Thank you for buying the course. That's so exciting. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I don't know your first name because your handle is JNKO Photography, but thank you so much. That really is amazing. If anyone else is interested in buying the course and has any questions about it, please let me know. A little bit about the ebook. The ebook is basically, over the years I have noticed, I've learned a lot about websites for fashion photographers. I had Jana. Thank you so much, Jana. I really appreciate you. Over the years, I've had some feedback from clients. I've also had feedback from people I've hired to help me with my business, and I've just learned a lot about websites and the fact that simple is better, and there are certain things that fashion photography websites should have within them, built into them, that not everyone naturally knows. And I find that often on websites I see of people who are in the early stages of their fashion photography career, their websites are just a little bit too over the top. There's too much going on, and I want this ebook to be something that you can go to help really refine your website, bring it to a level of sort of high-end photography for higher end clients, because most of you I know want to aim to go towards bigger brands, big clients, and the best way to do that is to look very professional with your website. So this ebook will help you be super professional with your website. So if you want that, you can get it, but you have to sign up to the course before Sunday at 9 p.m. GMT +1, and you will automatically receive it for free. If you're already a part of the course, you also automatically also get the ebook as well. I'm gonna move my phone forward because I can't keep being blinded. There we go. Okay, now I'm not blinded anymore. Would you ever consider selling a sample fashion contract? So that's funny you should ask. So I actually have been in touch with a law firm in London for the last 2 months because I did want to come out with some kind of contract. However, legally I can't because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not allowed to sell legal advice. So we found a workaround, and we're currently building an FAQ, which is everything you'll need to know about fashion photography contracts, and that will be out in the next couple of weeks. It's all being finalized right now. I actually had an email about that yesterday, so keep an eye out on that soon. There will be a full FAQ contract all about fashion photography and what you need to do, and then also links to this law firm who are fantastic if anyone has any questions. They're really amazingly friendly, and if anyone needs actual contracts drawn up, they will be a great place to go and ask for something more specific. Will you ever get into fashion films? Yes, I am slowly working on building my knowledge of fashion film. I find videography very difficult. I definitely think in stills, but funny enough, my brother is a videographer, and he has been helping me a little bit and giving me tips, and YouTube is my friend. I have slowly been making little fashion films on the side when I've been doing my own personal shoots, and I made a few for a client as well, and they've been really good. So yeah, I am slowly getting into motion. I think it's really important that if we want to stand out and be as useful as possible to our clients, adding the skill of video to our repertoire is very helpful. If you want a quick and easy way to sort of break into motion without having to go full on fashion film, creating GIFs is really easy and is as impressive to most clients as a full on film is. I also now collaborate with a lot of videographers on fashion films as well, because I can't necessarily always do both if the shoot is really big. So I will bring on a videographer who will film the actual scenes, and then I direct it. So I tell them kind of what I want, and then the videographer will also edit and do all the stuff behind the scenes. So it's very much a collaboration. And then when I have clients who request video, I can then bring on the videographers that I've worked with on shoots I've done, and they can come and work with the clients. So I hope that answers that question. How would you curate a portfolio if you shoot different styles of fashion photography? You need to cohesify your portfolio is the simple answer to that question. You should try not to have too many different styles, because ultimately you want to become known for one style. Within business as a whole, and especially in photography and art, we want to be as known for that one thing we do as much as possible. That doesn't mean that you can't shoot fashion and portraits and, product, but you can't flip-flop between having an edgy style and then a fashion, like a feminine style. Clients will find it very confusing if you have a style that's one thing and then a style that's a different thing all over the place. It just looks like a bit of a confusing mishmash. However, if you have that already and you don't want to delete, half your portfolio, I would separate them into 2 different buckets and have like a sort of one page that's one style and one page that is the other. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. But ultimately, I would try and cohesify your portfolio to be just one style. Let me answer a question I've had pop up. Oh, that is what I answered. So yeah, try not to have too many styles of work in your portfolio if you can. Any more questions? I am here to help. What else have I got news? So the news I kind of semi-announced today and haven't really talked about much online yet is that I am moving across the country in about 2 weeks' time, which is a bit scary and also very exciting, and I am looking forward to exploring a new area of the country. If anyone doesn't know, I didn't grow up in the UK. I grew up in Switzerland, and I moved here when I was 18, and I've lived in the same part of the UK for 10 years, and I've never moved from here. So I haven't actually seen much of the UK as a country, so it's going to be really fun for me to see a new part of this country that I have been living in for such a long time. But yeah, it's definitely scary, and there's a lot going on right now, so it's really cool to be living it, and I'm excited to share with you guys what it's going to be like for me trying to make my way in a new part of the country. I'm definitely, I don't know anyone in that area, I don't have a team in that area, so I'm going to be basically building teams from scratch, reaching out to new clients, reaching out to new brands. So I'm basically going to be semi-starting from scratch in a new place. So I will be bringing you on that journey with me. The Evolution Creature is asking, how can you get client projects? Simple answer would be join my fashion client course, which is available this week, because I have literally, that is the course with all the foundational stuff about how to get clients. But if you watch this back later, I answered that question earlier as well about sort of the foundational things you need to have in place to get clients. But in a nutshell, know your ideal clients and your dream clients really well, shoot loads and build a portfolio that will appeal to those clients, and then the last thing would be build a really solid marketing plan for yourself. What do you think? Do you think we should only have our face or work only and stories? Sorry, Jana, I'm trying to understand your question. Let me know if I'm understanding this correctly or not. Are you asking if we should have our faces on our feeds or not, like selfies, or show our face on stories? I think it's really important that as photographers we show our face on Instagram, on some kind of platform if we can. In particular on your website, you should have a photo of yourself on your about page, because people will want to know what you look like. The first thing we think of when we discover someone new is, what does that person look like? If they have no idea what you look like, they have a hard time building a relationship with you. So I do encourage you, if you feel brave enough to show up on stories and share your face, you will only benefit from it. I have a whole video on how to showing your face on your feed. I do think if you have behind the scenes images of you shooting, or if you have nice headshots of you with cameras and nice headshots, it is good to share your face on your feed as well. I do think that it benefits 100%. How can we be more creative when we work? If you mean by how do we get inspired, I think we all have different ways of getting inspired. My way of getting inspired myself is to spend a lot of time in nature and travel, go new places. I get very inspired by films and stories. So, childhood stories I used to read a lot as a kid. Funny enough, those often inspire my shoots, and I get a lot of ideas thinking back to times I had as a kid or times I had as a teenager. Those kinds of things inspire me. And then if you're finding that you get sort of blocks while you're shooting, having a mood board with you at all times that you can refer back to is really, really helpful, especially for pose ideas or any kind of thing like that. Right, I have a question on the Q&A section. How do you find brands and clients to work with? I feel like I'm looking in all the wrong places. Really good question. One of the top tips I have is to train the Instagram algorithm to show you ads of brands that you will want to shoot for as clients. So one great thing about the Instagram and Facebook ad algorithm is that if you click on the profiles of the ads that show up, it thinks that you like those ads, so it will show you more ads like it. So if you notice that so basically one of the things you can do is start clicking on brands that you already know you would love to shoot for. Let's say you want to shoot for Chanel, aiming high, you want to shoot for Chanel. You can go on the profile of Chanel and then click on the down arrow button of Chanel, and Instagram will automatically recommend you brands which is similar to Chanel. And then you should, when you're looking through stories or when you're looking through your Instagram grid, start to be given ads of brands that are similar to Chanel and the brands that are like Chanel. What you can do is then click onto the profiles of those ads if they feel relevant. Hello, Milo. And then Instagram will start to know that you are interested in brands like that and show you more like that. Other places are, ASOS Marketplace is a great place to look. Etsy for ideas on brands, like smaller brands. You can look on the brand lists on Net-a-Porter, on the Outnet, any other, like Yoox, all the big fashion retailers, John Lewis. Just scroll through all the brands that they sell and you'll get loads of ideas. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fashion brands out there. I'm always astounded. I never run out of potential clients because there's just so much out there, which is fantastic because it means there's so much work out there for us all to benefit from. So if you get stuck on clients, then that would be my tips. How often does your team change? It doesn't really change that often. When I'm in Cornwall, I have the same group of people that I go to. And then when I'm in London, I have a selection of people that I go to as well. When I'm in my new area, I haven't got anyone yet. So the only time it would change and I bring anyone different in is because they're not available for the day I need them. And I do experiment and test with new people just to sort of keep building my network and the amount of people I have available to me when I need them. But it doesn't change that often. I like working with the same people because they're all my friends. How do you manage your shoot post-production? Good question. So I import all my imagery into Lightroom and then I back everything up onto 2 hard drives. And then from there I will cull in Lightroom. So I'll do an initial cull where I'll select my favorites, then reduce that again by narrowing down even more, and then often it'll be a third cull as well because I want to get as few images to edit as possible. If anything needs to be edited in Photoshop, I will then open them in Photoshop and edit them in Photoshop. And then beyond that, it's when the shoot is done and I've finished editing, I will export in low res for the internet and also in high res for any printing that needs to happen. And I keep high res of everything and I don't delete any of my raw files. That's also a big question I get asked all the time is, do you delete raw files or not? No, I don't. You never know when you might need something more. There have been times when I have had a client like a year later say to me, we need a shot of this, like this. Do you have it? I might not because, a shoot was done a while ago and I might not have done it at the time. But if I do, great, everyone's happy. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, guys, for coming and joining me today. Just a little reminder that if you want to join the First Fashion Client course and get that free bonus ebook about building the wonderful website, you have until Sunday evening, 9 p.m. GMT +1 to do so. If you haven't watched this week's masterclasses yet, there were 2 because one of them messed up. you can do so via the link in my profile. They are only available until 9 p.m. on Sunday as well. So if you would like to watch those masterclasses, they're both hour-long masterclasses. Make sure you sign up before then and watch them this weekend. Okay, thank you so much for coming to this Q&A. It was a little last minute. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon for another one.